Alright, welcome back to DRC Garage. This is 50 Pro Mods for 50,000 qualifying to the Snowbird National 2021.
The beams over there on the right side as he gets ready to make his way for round number 2. He's 16 in qualifying, 368 with a 3 at 204 for that beautiful Chevrolet Camaro. Remember how they blew this thing to smithereens on Thursday night? They came back and crashed on it. That 368 probably steady. They run to get down the racetrack just to make sure nothing's going to fall off it. Now they can really lean on it. You go to number 1, you're going to be better than Daniel Ferris at 3.616 seconds. Incredible kid. I don't care. He's a great dad. Here we go. I say Cortuccio. I got to see it lead first. So they're going to roll in fourth. This is Chevrolet. 8 flat. They find 3 off the number. And look at that.
9:07, 60-foot time for Terry Coyle. Runs a 3:66.1, moves himself to the number 10 position. Wow.
Wow is right, but man, if you could turn some of that into some ET, huh?
Yeah, that thing was just shag nasty down low. 244 at the split, then he goes out the back door to 366.1 at 201.91. Cortuccio was 951 to 60 feet. I was kind of trying to dig itself out of a hole the whole way down the racetrack. 248.0 at the split, and then he goes across the finish line at 368 at 200. Yeah, Coyle's car, if they can repeat the 60-foot time, pull a little fuel out of it, put a little more time into it, that car is going to go in the bottom half of the 60s. And Scott Wildgun, how about a guy that blew us away last night? Wildgun showed up and went to the number 4 spot in his Mustang.
That's the Smokehouse car, right? $197. Lewis does pretty well in that run. 117 on the tree, 946 on the 60, and 250 at the split.
By bumping his way in, he has now pushed Jason Harris out of the field. Harris was sitting 32. He has now been pushed to 33. Scott Wildgust's car just wadded the tire up immediately. Headed toward the center of the racetrack, he lifted very quickly and coasted to the finish line. 1:19.60 foot time for Wildgust. That thing was square in the tire before it even got to the tree. But for Lewis, nice run, a safe run if you will, but a run that they can pick at, turn that 75 into a lower 70, and then maybe in the final qualifying session really lean on it. Kurt Stenning, another of the very impressive cars coming up here. Triple Off-Road side, qualified 6th right now. It's Spencer Hyde out of Ontario, Canada, across the racetrack in the red Camaro.
Right, so P2 contracting and racing and paving and Ty Drive over here doing it. Young Ty Tutterow, the crew chief. Sitting down there, Todd Tutterow, the crew chief, father and son, Tennessee. Ontario, ready to go. Brian fills in on all the incrementals. Now let's see what they can do here at round number 2 qualifying. Steady crew chief Don Tutterow looks on. Tutterow racing a mirror image tournament. See him later in the session. But dude is heavy for Steady.
365.2 for Spencer Hyde, picks up the 200s he wanted to find. Kurt Stenning slows by 300s. He stays in that number 6 position. Kurt Stenning pulled in just behind him to go to number 7.
Isn't that something, huh? 6 and 7. What a race.
What a race.
I mean, they were right there just looking at each other. 65.2, 65.3. A little bit more horsepower for Stenning there, showing it off at 208. What was the mile per hour of the meet so far on Pro Mod?
213 and change from the Tim Slavin's car last night. Jericho Baldoff and Jeff Rudolph. Now here's a mile-an-hour car. Rudolph went 370 last night, which there's 4 there. The 208 mile-an-hour speed is actually low for the Ghetto Sleigh, a twin turbocharged Camaro. And for Jericho Baldoff, the blower atop the back end seat bell with World Racing Time. A check-in from Pro Modified Hero, checking in from the beach, Eric Gustafson, following along this qualifying session as Jason Lee is driving his hot rod.
How about that?
I love it to death, Al, but I trade views with him in about 30 seconds.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That looks so cool. So let's get the Ghetto Sleigh ready to rock and roll here. Arts Turbo, sponsored Proline Racing Engine, and Jeff Rudolph, excavator by trade.
Man after your own heart.
Oh yeah.
Kelly Lurie's going to bring him into the beans. And now Jeff Rudolph's car, again, we mentioned 208 mile-an-hour speed. This thing will run 215. It can run as fast as 218 out there, depending on how aggressive they get. And for Jericho Baldoff, he is currently not qualified. 396.9, 157 last night. Not the effort they wanted or needed. We'll find out if Baldoff can find the magic number, which has fallen to 3.7.
that'll get him somewhere close to the bottom of this field, though. So Baldoff goes down and finds himself right there at number 20. Not bad.
Not too bad at all. Rudolph's car was soft down low, and that's where the problems began. 980 60-foot time, and it never really got up on the tire the way they wanted it. 255.4, 374 through the lights, and 208.97. For Baldoff, though, boy, what a big improvement over last night. Goes to the number 20 spot. The bump spot goes to 377, and now it's Dean Benson sitting on the bump, and Justin Swanstrom has been knocked out of the field.
Wow, so there's some big names that are going to be back there just a little bit nervous here in round number 2. With, I believe, what, 3? 4 total, so 3 today. The set of field right here is Pro Modified. One of the biggest and best fields you'll ever see in this category of Pro Modified for $50,000 to win. Here comes the number 1 qualifier. Kid has done it for so many years. I can remember him back there at Sykes and Dragway when he was doing his deal. Sykes in Missouri, Randall Ferris, 361.6. Backs up here in the Bradenton Motorsports Pro Charger Fuel Tech sponsored Pro Line machine.
This car has been so good over the last several days of testing, certainly so good so far this weekend. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. This really kind of gives us maybe a bellwether of what's out there for performance. 913 feet of density altitude right now, Al. That means there's plenty of horsepower in the air.
They slow down by 3 on the last number, 207 miles per hour. They're showing themselves in their hand here. Yes. That's the team to beat right now.
If that car is going to go out there and do this all weekend long, meaning run 361 after 361 after 361, it will be a very, very tall order to beat it. Man, that thing is looking strong as an ox right now. And here comes Stevie.
That move, man. How about it? 363.3 for Dillard. He's gone 63.2, so it just slows down a touch. He's showing that he could hang there with Ferris any day of the week.
Right in the ballpark with him. 16th thou behind him.
That could come down to a reaction time race if you ever thought of it. You'd take the lucky shot at the tree. How about Stevie Jackson, number 9 in qualifying, 365.6, 205. Was that a previous run, or was that?
That was last night. I think it ran right within a couple of hundred. He ran a 67, so the car, basically repeating on itself.
That'll bring up Marcus Bird, the action. Here we go, the red Chevrolet Corvette has done double duty from a radial tire racer to a pro mod racer. Big tires, small tires, gets into it all in his life. So Bird will be here in the tower side. Number 25 qualifier, 371, looking to get down into the 60s here. Let these guys know that there is a warrior on the path here today. Good evening.
Super interesting here to me because you got Bird, who has well underperformed expectations at this point, 371.3, sitting 25th. That's a car that will ultimately find itself likely to bottom half of the 60s, if not more than that. And Mike Decker, 48 right now. This is the North Carolina Pro Modified Association champion for 2021. And did not make any sort of a representative run last night. He sits 48 on a sheet of what will be 50 cars right now. So Decker certainly more than capable of running the number he needs to run as well. We should see Bird find his way higher in the field, and we should see Decker find his way in. But Canadian Dean Benson on the outside.
Well, Keever Sutherland down there in front of the car, the Chevrolet Corvette, going to get ready to pull it into the beams. Anderson, the crew chief, and all the guys that make this team what it is out of Georgia, looking for that 60 mark. Let's see if they can get it, man. I haven't seen a big improvement in anyone right now. Great runs by the top two qualifiers, so let's see if they can put this thing together. Marcus Bird, Decker, supercharged versus the FAC nitrous oxide. This is big. Man, did she get up in the air? How about it? 367.6. They're showing their hand a little bit now. 203 miles per hour. They found a whole bunch there. I don't know if you went to an emergency kit. Put them right in the middle of the field at number 16 for the Axeman. How about that? What a run.
Really, really nice run there. We saw the run on the right side of the racetrack, 372.5, 204 for Decker. You go 372.5, you end up in the 28 spot, but he's in for the time being. That is by no means a safe place to be. The bump spot falls to 375.5.
And look at that improvement, see? They're touching it a little bit, man. Just a touch.
Just breathing on it. Went from a 64.5 to a 63.6. Stan Shelton stays put at number 17, but a couple of nice runs there. And again, it goes back to the consistency of this racetrack. The way it's been prepared, these teams, there's not a lot of unknowns here. You can come up there with a tune-up that you can have a lot of confidence in, and it delivers.
Hat off to the Shelton crew, too, to keep that car running that good. You said they're tractor pullers. They don't have to lift the weights today. They have to put them on the front end. They just get out there and make some adjustments. Obviously, there's someone that knows something about race cars down there. God, is that thing pretty. Man, that Chris Thorne car is beautiful. This Florida 20 model Chevrolet Camaro with a 530-inch power plant in there. And here comes the guy who's sitting on a beach. How about that? You know, there's gutless and beach clubs up there in the beach. Like Tony Montana, looking over here. Hey, look at that's my car.
Leading within 2 thou is Jason Lee, 366.7 for Chris Thorne. He repeats within a handful of thou as well. So Lee stays 8, Thorne stays 12.
PTP. Man, how about it there, Kevin Bacon? You found yourself a good driver. He's looking at the computer already, see if the stock's going up in his Bitcoin. He's not even worried about it. He knows it ran well. Let me check my Bitcoin out now. So number 8, Jason Lee, longtime racer, as Brian mentioned out that, man, you can remember him in the old red Mustang. That kid could wheel the deal. And then to turn into one of these entrepreneur tuners along with Kevin Bacon and the guys, they've really shown their hand to be some good guys. So PTP, remembered if you're looking for a guy to take you to the track and tune it out.
Pretty interesting. Thorne was about 2 hun better in the 60-foot time there. He's 9:28 to Lee's 9:46, but it was in the middle of the racetrack that the Lee machine made a little bit more steam to go a hun better than Thorne at the stripe at 2 mile an hour better. So it's always interesting when you look at these runs, kind of lay them up next to each other and see where the cars are performing and maybe where they aren't. And of course, the crew chiefs go back and download the race pack and get in there and really get all the data they can possibly get to pick away at it for the next qualifying session. Next pair up be Jay Cox and Jim Halsey, 2 drivers very familiar with each other in the war that is PDRA Pro Nitrous.
Oh, it's National Kazoo Day, by the way.
Oh, it is.
All right.
Gonna give me a piece of wax paper. Eddie, put a little piece of wax paper.
Oh,
on
yeah.
That thing, put the little cap on.
There you go. Or you just get a little leaf and do the buck call. You could do
Oh man, you're the guy. You were whistling to the crows with that little piece of grass.
That's a true story. It kind of hurt my feelings that you were.
With your
I
crows.
think either you were jealous you didn't have a pet crow. At one time they would follow you on your Schwinn.
I'm jealous of a lot of things, but I'll tell you what.
That's a good one, right?
Pet crows lead the league.
Well, there's Mr. Schweitzer, Brandon Schweitzer down there working out with the PDRA champ on Pro Nitro this weekend. On the numbers, nope, not quite yet. 374.
Right, that'll do it for DRC Garage. Like, subscribe, and share.
So he slows down by 2.8.